Lazy boy. Once upon a time there lived a lovely couple named Joe and Willow who shared a delightful home and loved each other more than anything else in the world. After 7 long years of marriage, their hearts were filled with even greater joy when they welcomed a child into their lives, a boy they named Jaden, upon whom they lavished all their love and affection. Jaden was truly the apple of their eye. Anything he desired was immediately given to him without any questions asked. This continued even as he grew older. He would spend the entire day sitting watching television and playing video games, despite their quiet wish for him to play outdoors and contribute around the house like other children. Joe and Willow loved him so immensely that they never uttered a word, aspiring only to provide him with all the love and comfort the world could offer. At this point, Jaden and his parents constituted the happiest family. Years later, high above in the clouds, a significant meeting was convened by those abstract forces that largely govern human existence. Known as habits. Among those present were dishonesty, inertia, and a character representing tardiness who was predictably late. "Tardiness is always late, it's infuriating," exclaimed one of the attendees. Another, representing anger, addressed a figure embodying intelligence, stating, "Isn't tardiness the habit of not being on time? I know you are anger and not intelligence, but this is common knowledge." Arrogance, also present, chimed in, asserting that being arrogant was its sole purpose, to which another voice quipped, "Only if being me was so easy." Her Tardiness then offered an apology, explaining, "I tried to be on time, but then there was this girl down there and I had to command her to be late for her interview, and you know how it is, she has to be late for her first interview. That is how her friends will assume that she is always late, and it is easy for me to command her since nobody is expecting anything better out of her." Dishonesty then confirmed, "She is right, we are late because of her anger." However, I countered, "I was on time." That's not true. Stop, he is dishonesty. After all, he is never going to speak the truth." The purpose of this gathering, it was revealed, was to discuss a specific boy named Jaden. He was affectionately referred to as the miracle child, having been born after 7 long years as the sole offspring of Joe and Willow of Prime City. Jaden was now 14 years of age. For a span of 3 whole months, a pattern had emerged where he stayed awake until after midnight, subsequently slept until the afternoon, consistently skipped his breakfast, neglected to help around the house, and failed to complete his homework. A particularly telling instance had occurred just the day before, when he had taken his friend's lunch at school because he disliked his own meal. Furthermore, he later lied about this action and displayed no remorse for what he had done. While it was noted that Jaden did not yet exhibit any anger issues, there was hope for future development in that area. For the present, Ishan, inertia, arrogance, and dishonesty were assigned the task of going down to Prime City to command Jaden, "Get to work, you 3." Down below came the directive. As Jaden continued to grow, he transformed into a lonely and increasingly lazy boy. He completely stopped heeding any advice offered to him. Instead, he would simply laze about and resort to lying each time he was questioned about anything. For instance, when asked why he hadn't moved from the couch all morning, he would insist, "Well, I did go to pay the bill, but the office was closed," and if met with disbelief, he would dismissively retort, "Well, I told you I went if you don't believe it. There's nothing I can do." Joe and Willow became increasingly worried about Jaden's dramatically changing attitude. "Jaden, honey, this is no way to behave," his mother pleaded. "You are always playing games. You need to look for a job now and stand on your own 2 feet. Jaden defiantly responded, "Well, father, why weren't you so persistent when I was a child? You gave everything I ever wanted. Now all of a sudden you want me to work." If I'm so spoiled you're the reason why. His mother firmly corrected him, stating, Jaden, you will not speak in that tone with your father, and you cannot blame someone else because they cared for you. We are your parents, and everything we did was out of love. You were a child then, and now you are all grown up. You can make your decisions and stop being so lazy. You are letting bad habits rule over your life and command your actions. Jaden, exhibiting clear arrogance, then declared, no, I can make friends, live an active life, look for a job, clear my debts anytime I want. I'm not being ruled over by anyone. Although Jaden inwardly recognized his need for assistance, arrogance consistently prevented him from confiding in his parents. Furthermore, even if arrogance were his only issue, each time Jaden contemplated undertaking something productive, inertia would physically pull him down, preventing action, and as if these weren't enough, challenge dishonesty had alienated all his friends, leaving him isolated. As a result, Jaden found himself feeling lonely and perpetually tired. Then one fine morning, Jaden awoke before the sun had even risen, a surprising occurrence for him. Without hesitation, he immediately dressed and decided to venture into the garden for some refreshing air. He settled onto a bench and gazed intently at the sun, which was still ascending in the sky. It was after a very long period that Jaden experienced a genuinely good feeling. It's a beautiful garden, man, he remarked aloud, when suddenly a voice replied, oh, where'd you come from? A man identified himself as Clive the gardener, explaining, I'm always around. Breathe while you can, mate, this will all end soon. Puzzled, Jaden inquired, what do you mean? Clive elaborated, well, you see these particular weeds there, they're poisonous to that tree over there. Soon all the goodness of that tree will be gone, and so will the view of this park. Jaden, concerned, questioned, you are the guard. Don't you do anything about it? Clive explained his predicament. Well, I'm going to need help, and not many folks would want to help a gardener weed out the garden and get their clothes all dirty. Jaden looked at the weeds, pointing to them one by one, and a sudden worry washed over him. He did not want the garden to lose its strongest tree. Resolving to act, he declared, all right, I will help you. Now what do we need? Clive retrieved his toolbox and placed it on the ground, instructing Jaden to pull out a single weed situated near the majestic tree. Jaden accomplished this task swiftly, exclaiming, done. Clive cautioned him, well, don't go celebrating yet. Some weeds are so deeply rooted that you need more time and sometimes additional tools. Indeed, it took hours of painstaking effort for Jaden to successfully extract the other two weeds Clive had indicated, yet remarkably Jaden did not surrender. For some inexplicable reason, he felt an unprecedented level of determination that day and experience absolutely no sensation of laziness upon completing the arduous task. He reflected, all done. It seemed difficult, but all I needed is a little patience and persistence. Bravo, Jaden! Clive exclaimed, you are now ready for my gift. Jaden, surprised, asked, wait, I never told you my who are you? Clive revealed his true identity. I am the Dragon of Boons. Jaden, I am here to help you defeat inertia, dishonesty and arrogance who are commanding your life. Jaden admitted, I don't understand. The Dragon of Boons patiently explained that Jaden had developed certain harmful habits as he grew up, and over time these habits had become bigger than you and now commanded him. He clarified that inertia, dishonesty and arrogance were precisely the reasons Jaden was constantly tired and disinterested. Wow, what do I do about it? Jaden inquired. The Dragon of Boons assured him, I am here to help you out, son. You pulled out these 3 magical weeds with persistence and patience. You have earned a boon. He presented Jaden with 3 magical rings: the ring of honesty, which would assist him in uprooting dishonesty, the ring of discipline, designed to help him uproot inertia, and finally the ring of love, which would empower him to uproot arrogance. However, the dragon offered a crucial reminder: but remember, son, you will need the tools of patience and empathy to uproot some of them as they are deeply rooted, just like the magical weeds were. Jaden then posed a crucial question, but tell me one thing, why is it that now I don't feel tired? I'm able to speak the truth, and I don't feel arrogant while seeking help. The Dragon of Boons smiled and explained, "Oh well, that's because I have slipped a sleeping draught to those three. They are still in your room sleeping most comfortably. You did well. They are a little silly." Realizing the urgency, the dragon added, "Well, I should leave soon, for they may wake up anytime. Remember, Jaden, each time you think you are going to lose, remember the way you pulled out the weeds in this garden, and keep my son." From that momentous day forward, Jaden found himself engaged in a personal war against the three insidious habits. He began the arduous process of waking up early despite the protests of Inertia, who would vocally object, "No, you are not." He also started going for runs, pushing through Inertia's persistent attempts to stop him. "No, no, I won't let you go. You are mine, I command you." To which Jaden would determinedly respond, "Come on, I can do one more lap." In addition to physical activity, he made a solemn vow to tell at least one truth each day, a task that proved surprisingly challenging. Arrogance, ever present, attempted to dissuade him from confessing, whispering, "Don't know, you don't know, you don't need them, you have me. I am Eric, is your best friend." However, Jaden recalled the dragon's invaluable advice. "Remember, Jaden, each time you think you are going to lose, remember the way you pulled out the weeds in this garden, and keep going." This powerful reminder bolstered his resolve, and he admitted, "You're right, I'm the one who took the baskets of muffins from outside your house. I was really hungry. I am sorry. Why don't I buy muffins for you guys? My treat. Come on, let's go." Through these persistent efforts, Jaden gradually learned the profound importance of love, empathy, and persistence. In a deeply emotional moment, he approached his parents and confessed, "Mother, Father, I've been so rude to both of you. I can only hope that you will forgive me, and I promise I will do everything in my power to make myself better." The old habits like Inertia still tried to pull him back, screaming, "No, you cannot see these things." However, over time, Jaden's internal strength grew to such an extent that he was able to take off the magical rings as he no longer required them. He had truly transformed, becoming honest, disciplined, and humble in his own right. Soon after he secured a job and earned the deep respect of his friends, Jaden ultimately became a successful and wealthy individual, but he never forgot his friend Clive and the crucial lessons he learned from the weeds in the garden. Analysis. The story of Jaden offers a compelling narrative about the profound impact of upbringing, the insidious nature of negative habits, and the transformative power of self-awareness and persistent effort. From his earliest days, Jaden was showered with an overwhelming abundance of love and material comfort by his doting parents Joe and Willow, who gave him everything he desired without question and refrained from challenging his increasing tendency towards sedentary activities and disengagement from household responsibilities. This loving yet permissive environment, while intended to provide Jaden with all the comfort in the world, inadvertently fostered the very conditions for detrimental habits to take root and flourish without opposition. The story makes it explicitly clear that his parents' inability to set boundaries or encourage discipline driven by their immense love was a direct contributing factor to his later struggles, a point Jaden himself spitefully throws back at them during a confrontation. A powerful and insightful element of the narrative is the personification of abstract concepts as living, commanding entities. Habits like inertia, dishonesty, and arrogance are depicted as powerful beings who hold meetings in the clouds and actively run our world by commanding human actions. This vivid imagery transforms Jaden's internal struggles into an external battle against formidable adversaries, making the abstract concept of habit formation and control tangible and relatable. The Meeting in the Clouds provides a fascinating glimpse into the perceived hierarchy and interplay of these habits, with tardiness being late, dishonesty never speaking the truth, and arrogance asserting its purpose. The specific assignment of inertia, dishonesty, and arrogance to command Jaden underscores the particular vices that plagued him: his profound laziness, his tendency to lie without remorse, and his overrated sense of self-importance that prevented him from seeking help or acknowledging fault. Jaden's deteriorating behavior, marked by sleepless nights, extended mornings in bed, neglect of basic responsibilities like homework and breakfast, and even petty theft and subsequent lying, illustrates the escalating grip of these habits on his life. His parents' escalating worry and attempts to intervene highlight the growing crisis, yet Jaden's defiant and arrogant responses, blaming his parents for spoiling him, demonstrate how deeply entrenched these negative patterns had become. The narrative emphasizes that Jaden himself instinctively knew he needed help, yet his arrogance formed an impenetrable barrier to communicating this need to his parents, perpetuating his isolation. The repeated failures to act, pulled down by inertia, and the loss of all his friends due to dishonesty paint a stark picture of the comprehensive negative impact of these commanding habits, leading to a state of constant loneliness and exhaustion. The turning point in Jaden's life is portrayed dramatically through his unexpected early awakening and his journey to the garden, a rare moment of proactive self-direction. This initial step, seemingly small, becomes the catalyst for his transformation, leading him to a serendipitous encounter with Clive the gardener. The garden itself serves as a profound symbol. The poisonous weeds within it are a direct metaphor for Jaden's deeply rooted negative habits, inertia, dishonesty, and arrogance, that are threatening to destroy the goodness of his inner tree. And the view of this park, representing his potential and future. Jaden's willingness to help Clive weed the garden despite the dirty work signifies his nascent desire for change and responsibility, a stark contrast to his usual lazy demeanor. The process of pulling out the weeds, especially the deeply rooted ones requiring patience and additional tools, directly mirrors the arduous and persistent effort required to overcome deeply ingrained personal habits. His realization that all I needed is a little patience and persistence is a pivotal moment of self-discovery, directly linking his physical labor in the garden to the mental and emotional work required to change himself. Clive's revelation as the Dragon of Boons and his mission to help Jaden defeat the commanding habits elevates the story beyond a simple moral tale, introducing an element of myth and destiny. The dragon's explanation that Jaden's habits had become bigger than you and were commanding him reinforces the idea of these behaviors as external forces that must be conquered. The magical rings, the ring of honesty, the ring of discipline, and the ring of love, are not mere magical solutions but powerful symbols representing the virtues Jaden must cultivate to combat his vices. Each ring directly counteracts one of his primary negative habits: honesty against dishonesty, discipline against inertia, and love against arrogance. The dragon's warning that patience and empathy necessary tools for these deeply rooted habits emphasizes that true change is not instantaneous but a continuous process requiring sustained effort and understanding, especially of himself and others. The temporary sleeping draft given to the habits highlights that while initial ease may be granted, the real war begins when the habits wake up, requiring constant vigilance and inner strength. Jaden's subsequent war against his habits is depicted as a series of conscious and challenging acts of defiance against their internal protests, his commitment to waking early, running and telling at least one truth daily demonstrates the active and persistent engagement required for self-improvement, the internal dialogues where inertia tries to keep him in bed or prevent him from running and arrogance tries to convince him he doesn't need help vividly portray the ongoing internal struggle. Jaden's act of confessing to taking the muffins, directly opposing arrogance's counsel, showcases his growing capacity. Why for honesty and humility, a direct result of applying the dragon's advice and remembering the difficult process of pulling weeds. The culminating act of apologizing to his parents signifies a profound shift in Jaden's character, demonstrating his newfound empathy and love, which enabled him to finally overcome the arrogance that had previously prevented reconciliation. The ultimate triumph is when Jaden no longer requires the magical rings, signifying that he has internalized the virtues they represent and has become genuinely honest, disciplined, and humble through his own sustained effort. His subsequent success in finding a job, earning respect, and becoming prosperous, yet never forgetting Clive or the symbolic weeds, serves as a powerful testament to the lasting positive impact of confronting and transforming one's negative habits.